And we're back. So, there's actually a little bit of bookkeeping that we need to do. What was it that you were asking me for, Luke, here?
We love to keep some books.
Mhm.
Yes, there's a couple of points. I have there is a point that I have discovered on which the crew sheet equivalent, the domain sheet, is inconsistent with the text of the game, and it's irrelevant because we either now do or don't rule the Sedgelands, and that feels like a fairly important thing for us to know for sure, one way or another. Um, and so it sounds. Yeah, my instinct is to say the text of the book is more complete and is probably has been edited thoroughly more recently. The sheet would be my instinct, and so I'm inclined to go with what the book says. Um, but also, this is not a council of one.
What does the book
How do
say?
other people?
What does the book say, Luke?
Yes, the book says if you control a majority of the holdings in a province, you rule the province. The sheet says to gain control, you have to control all of the holdings.
Okay. That's an interesting question. I
So I'm
feel
sorry. So the sheet says
The sheet says to gain
all or
control of the
none.
province, gain control of all of its holdings. The book says, to quote directly, rule is the control of the majority of holdings in a province.
cool. I like majority. I like the idea of like a weak hold. I think that's exciting.
Right? Like, yeah, and the idea that like you've still got problems in your backyard,
Yeah.
while you're turning your eyes afield.
Yeah, not to bring it back to Crusader Kings 3, but it feels like that moment where like you have really strong vassals and you're like everything's fine, and you look around, you're like, oh crap, everyone hates me, and I'm being targeted for yeah, I'm being targeted for someone taking my title and stuff by allying weaker holdings together to take over like the big castle one, which I guess in this case is like Belheather, right? Belheather is our
Yeah, it also feels like that it leaves
The
more room for like
only
entanglements to produce interesting kind of like what's the word I want? Disloyalty and mutiny fomenting up like weeds.
the only counter argument I have to that is right now we have some muscle in the form of mercenaries, and we have other muscle. I guess we'll call them scouts in the form of Drostan's thieves. Correct. But it feels like the seat of power and still standing kind of like force, the thing that sort of overlooks the land and has the most punch, is the dagger keep at Bellheather, right? Is that not true? Does everybody
So
has
Daggerkeep, per the description in the book, Daggerkeep isn't actually at Bellheather. It's like on the coast somewhere.
okay?
Like it is, as Judd has described, like it's a crumbling ruin in such a way that it doesn't matter even enough to be a holding.
Okay, that's fair, but it still feels like those folks have a vault and Imperial Guard, control the crossroads, control more powerful trade, and have
I mean,
potentially stronger troops at the moment. So like it feels like I don't like from a narrative perspective. I don't feel like we are in full control of the such lands yet. It feels like we have a lot of force, and it feels like we have a lot of allies. But I don't know that like the average person on the street would say that we are in control. Does that
yeah,
narratively?
yeah,
which
no,
makes
that's also fair.
it makes sense. It kind of draws that distinction between authority and power, where like Sigane has the authority to like make rulings and rule, and people acknowledge them as like the one leading stuff. But then there's like this uprising of like more grassroots power, like sort of just non-legitimate power, I guess. And yeah, I think that's where the distinction feels for me.
Um, I'm I think I
And
agree completely with the like partial control rule. The idea of a weak hold is great. The idea that complications can come from there and so on is all things I'm pro. I don't know, in my gut, it
Yeah.
feels like we've made some really cool moves and really smart moves, but we don't have control.
yeah,
I
it
mean,
feels
does
like
it?
the
Does it?
oh yeah.
No, sorry, Lauren. You.
I was just to say, like, it feels like our next mission would be like to take on Sigane or Gear.
That's what
Or
I was expecting,
yeah,
but if we already have control of the Sedgelands, then why would we, right? Like, to get a crumbling ruin? So,
Yeah, for what it's worth, I think like two things that I would say is like one, I think it's important to clarify that like my read on Bell Heather versus the southern markets is that Bell Heather has more like it is the population center,
Popular
but
vote.
like the money, southern markets is where the money is, and we now have the money, other than like the imperial money. That's the taxes are a different matter, but like it's not like they can spend their taxes, right? Like that's a losing proposition. And I think the other thing too is I think it's important to remember that like another like month of time is going to pass in the fiction between this sortie and the next sortie we do.
I think
And
it's
so like
yeah.
in this moment, having just captured the southern markets, do we control it yet? No. But like
right.
after a month during which in the fiction we have tipped the economic balance of the province and we have tipped the military balance of the province. After a month of that, my question is, where does popular opinion sit? And I can totally see a world where like Sigane still ostensibly like still controls Bell Heather, but like the population of the Sedglans at large are actually actually are more on our side than they're on theirs.
Okay, I'm okay with that. How does everybody else feel?
That sounds good to me.
I think that makes I'm thank you, Luke, for putting like the scale of time. Time is very hard to keep track of this is, alongside the narrative, because I think you're right. Like if I keep having to remember there's a month like between sorties, and yeah, it makes sense that we're after a month is a state where there's popular unrest, or at least like less confidence in the ruling power to like keep that power.
After a month of us, throwing money around.
Yeah.
Like
holding balls or something. Yeah.
Story. Yeah. All right, cool. Judd, do we want to go through and do province stuff?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Cool. So, what happens in Reckoning? First, income. We earn, I believe this was vassalized, so we earn half the value of the holding, which is 2 coin. So we now have, everyone, very exciting, a total of 4 coin.
5.
Oh.
We got 3 last time.
Did we?
We may have gotten 2 and started with 1. I don't know. It just says coin 3 on my sheet.
Okay, great. Thank you, Strash. Or did we start with some coin? Let me quickly...
We may have 1 to start with. That's
Yeah.
very normal in sort of a Blade scenario.
Yeah, we started with 2 coin and we spent 1 on something.
There we go. All right. So do we want to?
Who knows what it was?
So
Yeah,
we
5
gained 2
coin
more.
now.
We're now at 5. Hooray!
So that's the good news. We also gain renown. The target was not a higher tier, but we vassalized them, so we get 3 renown for this sortie, and we got.
So we're pretty close to something that says rule. We'll have to go over that next time.
Yeah,
I think we do a sortie.
We got 5 last time, so we were
Correct.
at 8. We're at 8 renown.
Yeah, there's 1 blank box and then there's the rule box, which we'll talk about later.
Rule. It's just like turf in Blades, Strash.
Oh, I see. Well,
It just
we don't
reduces
have
the
that.
amount that
So
Yeah, it just reduces the amount that we need to rank up.
I see. Okay.
Cool. And then what's the next thing? I'm sorry, Judd. I don't mean to.
No, you're doing great. I love that you're doing this.
Take over as bookkeeper.
Take over. I'll roll the engagement roll. And
Fantastic. Yeah, there we go.
I'm loving
right,
it.
so that's that. We've got both of those. We do rule. Kind of per that conversation, like, and according to the rules of the full text, we do rule the province now. 10 points to us. We now have a scout levy.
Wait,
Congratulations.
hang on. 10 points to us?
No, that's just
Are you making a 10 points to
like
Gryffindor?
10
Just
brownie points.
I see.
Josh. Just no mechanical points, just brownie points.
Sorry, I was like, I don't see
No,
a chart
no.
with that
Where are
many
the points?
boxes. Luke, where's
This
it
isn't
going?
Blades. How do I count?
Carry on. Everything's good.
Yeah, so we have a scout levy now that we can draw from the Sedgelands. We also, because we control the market, take +1 die on acquire asset downtown actions, which is cool. Next thing, unrest. I would describe this as smooth and quiet, successful diplomacy or an effective deception.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I disagree.
Oh wow.
Let me get to the disagree, Strash, because I think I'm
time.
about to address it through different means. There is a modifier +2 unrest if any wraiths were created and not put to rest, which I think covers the murder of that one guy.
Okay. I think that if you murdered the sheriff of a town, no matter how stealthily it was done, especially if we then squeeze the money and deny it to the rightful lieges, this is not a quiet operation that nobody notices. Like,
That's a good
if
point.
we are going to say that people recognize us as the rulers of this province, we cannot also say that it happened by accident in the night and nobody knows who actually rules, right? Like, those two things are
That
in
is-
conflict.
That's very fair.
That is very fair. Okay, so in which case, I think it's contained conflict, relatively peaceful transition of power.
Judd, what do you
Right?
think?
Relatively peaceful.
I don't actually have a problem with
Yeah.
that statement. I just
Yeah.
don't think it was that
Yeah.
stealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then the next step up is the taking of a holding by force.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think we
I
did
don't
that.
think we did that.
Nope.
Yeah.
So it'd
So
be 2, and then +2 because we did. A guy was murdered and a wraith happened, and we didn't, immediately take action to put that to rest. So there's now a tier 3 is by violence. Tier 3. There's now a quality 3 wraith running around out there. It'll be fine.
Right.
I'm not worried
Yeah,
about it.
fine.
So we're at 5 unrest. We don't have to worry about Imperial Ire because the Empress doesn't know who we are yet. Entanglements.
Let's roll that shit.
Let's roll this shit. So it's 0 dice on the middle chart.
Race.
Yep.
so we're at 5 unrest if that puts us on the middle chart.
Yeah, 4 to 5.
Do you want to roll those zeros? You want me to?
I'm happy to. You can. I'm not picky.
Okay, I'll do it. I got it. Roll 2. Pick the lower. So it's cool.
So 2.
There is a peasant crowd gathered in your domain. Address their demands or lose renown.
Next one over, Judd. We're at unrest 5.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
The way I
Holy
like
shit.
it.
So a friend or contact leaves your domain for the court of a rival faction.
Sweet.
Jeez.
Oh my god, I have a pitch. I don't know if it's entanglementy enough.
Okay.
We'll hear it.
What if Fergus goes ahead of us to prepare the ground in whichever the next province we're gonna do? Which the spin on that is a bad entanglement is that necessarily that puts him in a bunch of danger.
It's
I'm
not
not
going
attached to it.
That's not going over to a rival though, is it?
I don't leaves your domain for the court of a rival faction does not explicitly mean changes side.
I would be done with that. 'Cause
I think the obvious interpretation of this is they betray you. What I'm looking at is are there other interesting reads on this text that also feel entanglementy enough, but give us a bit of variety.
Let me look at the text of
Flipped.
Flipped.
Everyone, grab your copies of Blades.
turn to page.
I mean, I would use a PDF here.
I would be okay if people are cool with Fergus moving elsewhere, because that means we just get to see more Fergus, and we have some hard conversations with Fergus about hey,
Who's Fergus?
dude. Oh, he's my innkeeper friend. Like he welcomed us when we first got to the Sergeant. So if he leaves, that'll feel like a betrayal, but one that I can't feel justified in, because he is like an innkeeper, and there's so much unrest that it would make sense if he's like, "Sorry, I gotta move on," or like.
The text for Flipped Judd is one of the PC's rivals arranges for one of your contacts, patrons, clients, or a group of your customers to switch allegiances due to the heat on you. They're loyal to another faction now.
Got it.
It also, it's worth noting, lives on the 6+ table, not on the 4 to 5.
Okay.
So per blades, it's like a step more serious than this.
Got it. Got it.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm good if like Fergus sells us out and someone tries to put a hit on us or something, or like it's complicit and such. But yeah, whatever. Wait, I can also open to other stuff entirely.
Yeah. Poor Fergus.
I've got an excellent villainous person who could potentially cause us trouble. I don't really have a good friend for that person to lean on, though.
Okay.
My down arrow is Egan, an extortionist. So I assume it's someone who specializes in blackmail and leverage.
Right. Right.
So if this is a person that I definitely have cross problems with, and he knows that I'm associated with this particular thing, someone could easily get swapped, but I don't feel like a friend like Addo Blacksmith is necessarily like a great target, and it's highly unlikely that, my first in command that gave up her mercenary life and crossed the ocean with me is just gonna bail. So I don't know. Yeah, my friends are not terribly helpful here. I just have a good antagonist that could easily flip someone, if that matters.
Right. Yeah, which I think is part of why Strash, I think, like, the kind of friends that people have in this game is, I think, another reason why I think a reading of this that encompasses people like going into danger and being put at risk in addition to betrayal as options, I think is good. Because otherwise, yeah, it's like, oh no, like my friend, the Smith, goes to another court and betrays us. And it's like,
bear in mind, though, I don't,
you know what?
I didn't actually read anybody else's friends lists because, like, in a Blade sense, like, the thief that I grew up with, who's been on my side, could easily be flipped, but, like, you folks may have nobility and other stuff amongst your contacts that could easily be working for someone else now. It's just the Vengeance particular, like, allies are very low-key.
And Singard is a good question, which I think I know the answer to, but I will check with you all. We don't have a crew sheet, correct? We don't have any crew contacts. So we do?
We have two crew contacts. They're Drosten, who is our vassal.
That'd be
and
oh, thanks.
Who was the other one?
They don't come. So I think what Lauren asked very sensibly was, do we start with contacts on our sheet? And the answer is no. We do have a down arrow. It just says
per the book. Yes, we do. Per the sheet, we don't.
Is there a list in the book that I should copy over? Because I didn't see it.
There isn't a list. It just says that we have them.
Oh, great.
It says, where is it? Let me find it.
That's not helpful, though.
Mark a contact you're friendly with, mark a contact you're unfriendly with, like, end of details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it never goes into it any more than that.
I got nothing then.
Cool. So I think it goes like this.
Bless you.
Oh, wow. That was explosive.
There's a terrible storm one night, and then what happens after that?
I think in the middle of the night, you've been squeezing the money out of this province for a month, and House Segal or House Gier. I think it's House Gier. House Gier flips Fergus and sends an assassin, and in the middle of the night, in this inn where you all kind of feel like this has been our home and this has been where this is where this whole thing started. You know, in the middle of the night, he lifts the beam that holds the door shut, and like with a heavy heart, he opens the door and lets the man with the knife who Gier hired to end this sedition.
So,
And
are you going to say the mean thing, Judd?
what's that?
Are you going to say the mean thing?
What, like am I going to do the
John
John Harper technique?
That's right. Do it. Do it, Judd.
Yeah, and so the assassin creeps through the night without making a noise and stabs Kale to death and ends the game. Can you just shut it off? Shut it off. Just shut it off. And end the stream, please.
Nice to meet you.
Game over. Thank you for watching, everybody.
Smooth outro.
I'd like to resist that
Outro.
consequence.
Thank you. Thank you.
I clearly need to do a podcast where, like, I like to do this every once in a while because if they say, "Oh, okay, I know they didn't really like the game," and we could just end it. It's there. That's it. Sometimes that's how the game
Very
ends.
good point, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, this assassin creeps through the night and stabs the Witch Queen Kale Lolaire to death.
Yes, I would like to resist this
Amazing.
consequence,
Yes.
John.
All
Oh,
right.
really?
Sounds good.
Okay.
In that ultimate
And I'm
reality,
gonna.
Of the
I'm gonna
three
resist-
of us, I was actually thinking you're the least likely to resist this consequence, but
I'm-
okay.
I'm resisting it. I'm resisting it in the past, Strash.
Oh, I see. My bad.
I saw this coming. You see. If you wanna, I think there's still absolutely room for like a cool thing. Like, I'm setting up for that beat in Fellowship of the Ring, where the bed is stuffed and they just
totally.
stab pillow. But like, that's not to say that Artair isn't lurking behind the door, ready to like kill this motherfucker or capture them. I think there's room for us both to
Oh heck yeah!
have some fun.
You
Resistance.
you like read my mind, and I got chills. Because can I assist on resistance rolls?
Just I mean, no. Assist is a mechanic that's
Yeah.
attached to the core mechanic, which is only on action rolls, not on resistance rolls.
Oh sweet. So then, if appropriate, like
Yeah.
I resisted.
Let's just talk about a story because this is happening during downtime.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what this looks like is like we flash. You know, it's like the assassin creeps through the room, the knife comes down, it stabs in, it comes back out, pillows, like feathers fly up instead of blood, and then we flash back to, like, a quick, like, God, who's the fucking director of Hot Fuzz?
Oh god.
Oh, I should know this. I should know this.
On the train?
It's like one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, God, Edgar Wright?
Edgar
Is it
Wright, yes,
Wright?
thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
my brain hiccuped.
It's like an Edgar Wright like style, very quick montage of like every conversation that Aaron has had, moments of all these conversations over the last week with Fergus, and I can always tell when someone is lying to me.
Oh fuck, that's good.
And so like I have put this together, and so like, you know, this night Kale and Aaron are not in the inn; they have moved out down to the Southern Market to like our new headquarters.
Yeah,
But,
I love
I
it.
think-
Fergus said, well, nobody in the Knife and Hair would harm the queen. And like,
Yeah, just like,
and you
Aaron
feel
there at
like
the back of the
the
neck.
thud. Yeah, you feel it like a.
It breaks Aaron's heart a little. It
Yeah.
breaks Aaron's heart.
So yeah,
and I
the
think-
assassin. Yeah, love it. The assassin stabs at the bed and then looks down and says, you know,
Huh?
yeah, you know, probably says a terrible curse like, you know, Wraith's genitals.
Fuck,
And
yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah. So I think I feel like the version of this scene that I would like to paint, and let me just quickly roll my my roll here.
yeah,
I think this is an insight. I don't think it's insight, because whether I can see it coming is not in question, because I can always tell when people are lying to me. I think it's resolve, because the real hit here, right, is like this person who we have trusted and who we've been living with for like 3 months, like just tried to have us killed. The heartbreak is the real consequence that Aaron is resisting.
I love it. Unfortunately, a future scene with Fergus, I'm like, hey.
So I'm going to take 1 stress. Yeah, and I'd like to pitch Strash. I think there's like, we flash back to like a conversation between Aaron and Arter. Where Arter is just kind of like, Aaron just like sighs. And I think we're like, out in like the market in Belheather or whatever. And Aaron doesn't look at you, he just says, they got to Fergus. Tonight's the night.
I think Arter just says, I think we let him live because of everything he's done for us.
And it's not his fault. He's not a soldier. We were asking him to take a terrible risk for...
You don't have to explain it to me. I'll take care of it.
Yeah, I think he's just like, thank you.
And so, yeah, I think that when the cross cuts catch back up to, like, the present day,
like,
right? Like, where, like, the dagger comes up and the feathers come out, then I think, like, the armoire doors, like, just burst open, right? Like, Arter comes out. And I think, like, there's just, like, a moment, like, after that. Like, we hear the sounds of violence, but we see, like, shadows moving, like, from outside the door and mostly just, like, see the face of, like, the innkeep that opened the door. And then Arter comes out and just shoves the head of the assassin into his hands and says, give this to whoever paid you. And then, like, walks downstairs still dripping.
Did you garrote the assassin with your, like,
Probably.
fucking chain?
Yeah, wicked meteor hammer chain thing. Yeah, it's just for sure. But, like, not on screen, right? Like, we don't have to get too gory. I think that there's probably, like, cinematic blood spatters that come out, but not, like, yeah, it's not focused on here.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Love it.
So that's an entanglement dealt with.
That is the entanglement dealt with. Who wants to do a downtime? What's that? Lauren, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I just said, like, no problem.
Yeah.
Like, entanglement dealt with.
I'd just like to take a moment on screen and just publicly acknowledge Strash. When we talked about this ability and how good it is, even sans any dice, I want to concede you had a point. Like,
you're using it very well. I'm just all kisses to you. Throw roses on the stage here.
Yeah.
Very well done.
This ability is like a beautiful knife in my pocket that I can just pull out and stab Judd's plans with. No rolls needed. I'm just like, fuck you, Judd.
I have to write that down on my character sheet. That's getting tweeted.
I have no plans.
I will not plan. Planning is the mind killer.
Yeah.
That's an RPG meme.
Nice.
Cool. Shall we do downtimes?
Downtime.
Yeah, let's do some downtimes. I do a lot of praying.
Oh my god, do we catch up with them in the graveyard again? Because I also need to relieve stress.
I think we do, and I would love it to be like over Saoirse's grave, and like the grave doesn't have particular markings because she died like out of province. Like it was there's no ashes, there's no like part of her there. It'd be interesting if it carried that sense of like her wraith doesn't belong. Or like, she died elsewhere. Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I think there is on every gravestone there is a carving of a door, and if it's closed, their body is there and they're put to rest, and if it's open, they're still out in the world.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and that's a cool idea from you. Thank you, Lauren. Yeah, I like that. That's really cool. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I thought this. Oh yeah. Oh, you've got to look, Luke.
I figured out what the like wraith laying to rest tattoos look like.
Oh, cool. Do you want to
I
Tell
think
us
they're
what they
like
look
they're
like.
they're like rings of footprints,
Ooh, very cool.
like someone walking like a
Around your
trail
wrist,
through the
yeah.
snow. Yeah, around your wrist.
What does it look like? Say again.
Footprints on your skin.
Two sets of feet. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Cool. Love it. Love it.
And I think there's probably like, I imagine there's probably some like deeply significant set of symbology. Like if the right person looked at Oren's wrist, they probably could tell how many of the wraiths, you know, like were young, were children when they were living, and how many were like warriors when they were living. Like there's probably a whole bunch of iconography around it, but like, you know,
The general
we haven't
gist
seen
is,
any- yeah, we haven't seen any of that on screen yet.
or at least
Great.
nobody's expositioned it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is probably in the like special edition, like one of the like makeup
Is it
artists
Aqua?
is talking about it, like on those, you know, the extras.
It's a barefoot, and we know that they didn't die by violence. But if it's a booted foot, we know they died in war. And
Yeah, exactly.
can-
Exactly.
cool.
I think I know what this prayer scene looks like. If you'd like me to set it.
Please.
So I think you perhaps like catch Kale at the graveyard. It's a bit like a happenstance, like kind of meeting. And I think like the sun is at a point where Kale either sees or feels like your shadow behind her. And she's looking at like Saoirse's grave for like the open door on it. And I think like when she feels your presence, she doesn't look over her shoulder, but she says like, I've always thought this definitely brings a new meaning. It's like my door is always open. And I like to think that's a thing you've said to like Kale before too, like when you've like solicited counsel or said like you can come to me for anything.
Yeah, and I think he laughs, and like, yeah, finds. I think it might even be the same rock as last time, and just like settles down because you know he's been walking around the market. Yeah, and he like reaches up and like you know squeezes the bridge of his nose because that headache, you know, that migraine like is still lingering. And he lets out a sigh and he says, "You did very well last week."
I think like Kale does like so like shake her head, do like a tish at that, and says, "I know you've got an eye for those who tell the truth and those who lie, and that is a skill I do not have, but I can see through you are. You're kind. I didn't do that well, but I was supported by yourself and Altair. And yeah, I feel guilt and shame at not having the capabilities or strength or knowledge in how to deal with folk. For all I know is pain and hurt. And that's a motivation and drive I understand. I don't get the machinations of higher society and the negotiations and bargains and motivations that people hold close to them when none of that matters. For at the end of the day, when we're gone, it's just a question of is your door open or closed.
When you walk in pain along a shadowed path for long enough, it hurts your eyes to see the light again. You're healing. You're learning where. And he like smiles and like thinks back to the last time you met here. We're walking forwards. And you did better, I think, than you give yourself credit for. We can dissect it in detail at a later date, but did you give away perhaps slightly too much? Yes, but also it is a harder lesson to learn the courage to be vulnerable than it is to learn the reserve to stay silent.
I think Saoirse does like a very quick like tries to wipe away some like tears when you say that because like she's not used to Bill's like having that much courage and like faith in her. I think even though like we have a established relationship, it's just it means a lot to like hear that even if you know it to be true because your brain's intrusive. And I think she says, I have a hard time trusting the words of people. And that being said, I did not see Fergus's betrayal. And I guess well, I don't think I should have died that night. I should have. And I guess what I'm trying to say is the strength you see in me and the things you do for me and the advice you give me some belief that I can be great.
And he he smiles and like I think again like we get the echo of this last conversation. He like reaches out and like squeezes your hand, and then he sighs and he's like, could and should. We love these words, but they're just wind from the lips of mortals. All there is the path you're on, and how you choose to walk it.
You always have wise words, Brother Oren. And that while could and should or just words, as you said, we have to move forward. And I guess having said that, would you pray with me over Saoirse to try and put a frustrated soul to rest?
I will, and I made that woman a promise, and someday, when there is time, I mean to keep it.
Me as well.
And I think he nudges you. He's like, after this, let's study. You can find some wise words too.
It sounds great, Brother Oren.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. Oh, and I think there too. I think she nods to like how you were so easy and casual, swapping from like politics to like cordiality and like all that the flow of
the
things.
The secret is that it's all the same thing.
Yes. Great. I'm ready to roll my my dice.
This is definitely insight and not prowess.
And don't
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, 4 isn't bad.
4's not bad. We did okay.
Cool.
Good praying.
Josh, what's our tear up to?
My downtimes are probably pretty boring. We can just cinematize unless you have anything particular, Judd.
No, I'm just curious.
I think that there's probably if we're talking, let me talk to my crew here for just a second. So Luke / Lauren, is our next plan to assault Daggerkeep / Bellheather, take control all the way?
Right. Are we trying to consolidate or are we trying to? That's a great question.
Because if we're trying to consolidate, I know what I'm doing. If we're not, then I need to talk about. Then I'm probably investigating our next landing. My gut vote is to consolidate, but I'm not like hard on that. Like if you folks are like, yeah, we should totally go somewhere else, then it'd be fine.
I'm okay hanging around. I kind of get over this like that kind of like I don't know, like television-esque like movie drama where it's like we've got to see that scene with like one of the like Sigane or Gear or someone. on screen for.
Yeah, I reckon the next one is like we seize Bellheather, and like we hopefully have some kind of like charged confrontation in the street that is like an ultimatum / like maybe turns into a fight. I reckon that'd be cool.
I'm in. Yeah, no, all of that sounds great. Cool. In which case, what I'm doing, Judd, is I am going to be. So I'm going to describe narratively probably what we see on the screen. So, like, if we're watching a TV show, we'll probably see a montage where I am teaching the guards and Drostens to, like, combine forces effectively. And I am forcing them to, like, intermingle units and, like, dealing with them like I did to my mercenary company under my command, right? Like, you're seeing a bit of sort of, like, the commander in Artair showing, right? Like, where I'm putting them through drills and everything else, and I kind of make, like, two teams where one of them is the mercenary captain who needs a name.
No, he's got a name.
Great, tell me his name.
I said, Cathan.
So Cathan and Isbael are probably team leads here. And I think that the two actions that I'm actually taking, like, the stuff that's happening is after that, right? So, like, after these, like, hard days of training, I think that Artair is kind of in his element, right? Like, he doesn't feel great in a lot of these, like, talky kind of situations. Artair's very simple. He finds his objective and he goes for it. So, like...
Finds them very stressful.
Yeah, but, I mean... I've got a stress check. That's perhaps, yeah. So one of the ways that I blow off steam is camaraderie, right? And so, like, I think a lot of the, like, hanging out after near the fires, like, drinking with people that share a similar mindset, have a similar history, sort of, like, that sort of loud laughter and joking that you will see amongst, like, military people. That is definitely a thing that's, like, my stress relief. And also, secretly, it's my way of working on the clock with Isbael.
Cool.
Because I might, there might even be, like, riding out to a castle very similar to the scene of us scouting out the other end, and it's just, like, more conversations and, like, discussions and camaraderie, right? Like, I'm not trying to win her over in, like, an immediate sense, like, you need to like me, but sort of, like, in a continuous sort of, like, I talk to you, I pay attention, like, we interchange ideas, we have a very similar background, you know, that kind of thing, right? So is that cool? Those are the two things I'd like to do.
Love it.
Nice. Can I claim Drosten as my bonus die for the stress relief here?
Yeah.
Rad. Let me do the thing.
So you're kind of like hanging out with him and
yeah, and his folks
bandits?
and the mercs. Yeah, it's sort of. I'm prepping our forces for dealing with this next mission, right? Because, like, we're going to probably need more forces than just the three of us skulking around. So let me find my voice, which I know this is... There's a much better name for this here. Is it Solace? But, bonus dice 1. Cool. I clear 3 stress.
Cool. And that's just so I can imagine it. That's the bandits, your mercs, and the kind of caravan guards all getting together into one unit.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Because, like,
yeah,
you gotta get them to practice together and to know each other's tactics and information and integrate, right? Because, like, otherwise we are going to be a hot mess, right? Like, you don't want 4 units that can't anticipate each other's movements. You want the commanders to know each other, which is partially what the, like, drinks afterwards are about, right? It's like getting to know each other, getting to understand each other, anticipate each other, you know? And hi. And
I'd pitch even Strash.
sorry, I've got a tiny cat.
I'd pitch even if we want to stretch it that far. Like, we do also have this new, like, levy of scouts.
Yes.
From controlling the Surgeons.
We
the, like,
do?
Citizens Militia.
Do we just
the
get
Citizens
scouts?
Militia. Yeah, we just have a levy of scouts now.
Oh,
Constantly.
okay. Dope.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can dig that.
Cool.
Luke, can you? You're much better at this than I am. Can you explain to me the rule for that? Is it just something that happens at the end of a season, or?
So basically, as soon as we take control of a province,
So why don't we say that, like,
we
that's
get
that's the caravan guards, right? When they come together as a group, there are like scouts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like them and maybe some, like,
Some raiders.
hunters,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, and I imagine, like, the tension that your mercs, like, are very good at diffusing is, the bandits and the mercenary and the caravan guards, right? And
I'm not
I
used
think
to being on the same side. Yeah.
yeah, and so like the mercenaries were like, my buddy Sevi over here used to be with the Aurochs Legion, and he broke my clavicle with a hammer, in the spring. But then when he came over to Arter's crew, we were friends. And by then my clavicle was more or less healed, but so who could really care?
I think
And they
that
were like,
I think that there's probably like a specific like if we see this as kind of a confessional, then we rewind back to where like the two of them are like, well, why should I trust you? No, why should I trust you? It's like, and I think Artera's like, cool, two of you against me, let's go. And I do that whole like, I push you until you have to cooperate, and then we can start like building up some sort of relationship from there, right? Like,
yeah,
look, you're both dead now. If you want to survive the next fight, maybe try putting some rivalries aside.
nice.
Or you're going to have two clavicles that are hurting. Where did you even learn the word clavicle? So,
I think it is also worth noting that per the game, our levy of scouts is 12 people.
all right. I mean, that's a unit.
Because
It's fine.
we're only
It's a
tier 1,
platoon.
right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, this seems reasonable. And yeah, they are good at surveying threats. That's the caravan guards. Traveling unseen. That's Drosten and crew. And ambushing targets. And I feel like that's everyone.
All right. So shall we? So cool. And then I would like to work on Isabel as an ally, somebody that I'm going to add to my my friends. How do I? What? I assume that this is exactly the same as Blades, i.e., I have to pick a skill and do a thing, right?
Yeah. What skill?
Good question. The only social skill I have is command. So, early game. What do we do here? Maybe I just roll 0 dice and get 1 tick. I mean, that's maybe a thing.
Cool.
Luke, do you have any suggestions?
Hmm? Sorry, I was looking up the.
No, it's fine.
battles.
It's Judd. I would
just
like to use Prowl because we are scouting out the next mission. No, I think I roll 0 dice and just take my 1 tick. It'll be fine.
Prowl scouting out the next mission sounds like a thing that you two could do together. That's fine.
It totally is, but I don't know that it's gonna sway her heart.
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Yeah.
think.
I like the idea that you're all in the southern markets, and the
Bellheather probably, but go on.
are you in Bellheather?
If we're scouting it, if we're getting supplies or something, then definitely the southern markets.
Oh, okay. If you're scouting, I thought you were like,
We already own
Friendly.
the southern markets. We don't need to rescout that position, right?
no, okay. I didn't understand. I thought because you said like win her heart and become her friend.
So,
I thought like,
yeah.
I was about to.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
So I was framing like a friendly sway consort scene more than a.
I
But
think what it
if
is
you want
more of
to-
a we are bonding over a job, right? Like she's doing spy shit and I'm doing spy shit
You're
with
gonna be
her.
work- You're gonna be work friends.
We're gonna be work
Yeah.
friends. That's the plan.
Yeah, and it feels like to offer a thought here, because I think the Prowl does actually potentially feel valid. Like, it almost feels like with her, the question is less, like, it's not that you're going to become, like, friends, like, the two of you are really warm and you, like, care about one another and you, like, hang out. Like, it is a solid professional relationship that you're working on. And, like, earning her respect for your competency
Yeah, that's exactly
is
it.
the way into that. So like I think Prowl is like a strong argument.
I don't even know if I would call it a purely professional, but maybe like camaraderie between people that have
Yeah.
been through some stuff, right? Like,
Fellow spies.
yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, it's the banter of spies. That's actually very, very candid. If you watch any spy movie, this is
Yeah, it's that bit in the spy movie where the two spies from rival but not enemy nations are like bantering with one another on the job.
I threw out my Prowl as a joke, but if you folks are gonna give it to me, I'll roll my 2 dice. It's better than to take lowest. I'll say that.
You'll still
Go-
roll 2
do it.
dice.
All right.
It's just about which
Okay,
one you get
fair.
to keep.
I'm just gonna roll risky standard. Obviously, it's just gonna be 6. I'll take it. 3 ticks. Very nice.
Cool. So yeah, I think she takes you through Bellheather and says, I think like the first place you start kind of in the center of Bellheather, which is the Bellheather Vault, right? Which is this little fortress, Imperial fortress. And she says, as soon the officer in charge of this is Captain Buko. He has no ties to Gier or Sigane. As soon as blood starts getting shed, he'll do what he calls avoid local trouble. He'll close the gate and let it sort itself out. Eventually, in the months to come, you'll want Kale to sit down and talk about taxes with him and how she's going to pay them to the Empress, but that can be down the road a ways.
That's how we lower heat. I understand now.
He isn't going to get involved. You don't have to worry about the vault. And then I think like you look at like the barracks of Sigane, and she's like, this you have to worry about. And I think you know they've got like a little wooden fort up at the crossroads, but it's not great, and it's just, you know, kind of a vaguely fortified stable, because they're mostly cavalry, and they're former mercenaries. They're professional soldiers, and they're skilled.
If you got a mission to deal with that problem, how would you tackle it?
Sigane did take this land because they were hired by your friend's uncle, and probably did put people who stood against him to the knife back in the day. If that's a problem and you need a fight to get that out of your system, then have that fight. However, they have no tie. He hasn't tied them to her. He hasn't married into their family. There's nothing keeping them to Lolaire, to that link to Lolaire. So maybe try having fucking dinner with them.
It's always the answer, isn't it? Actually, I think I smile and I say probably good advice. Probably better if Kale and Audrin have that dinner, though.
She says, there's no dinner that's going to get you House Gier. That's a problem. They are married into Lolaire. They're hip deep. It's just not going to happen. But Sigane, they're winnable.
All right.
That said, if you want to blood your soldiers, this is a good test.
All right. I think I just smirk and I say, everyone always just assumes that I'm mentioned for a fight. You know, there'll be plenty of time for fights coming up. Maybe this isn't that time yet. I'm never in a... Any good soldier is never in a rush to put their life on the line. You do what needs to be done, and sometimes you develop the stomach and the stamina to do it. But there's only one group that I will throw myself against even when the odds are rough. I will let cooler heads make this decision. As you said, they didn't marry Anne.
Sounds good.
I'm done with my downtimes. Woo! Does anybody want to have any other talks or scenes, or is it time to plot?
Strash, I just want to flag for you, since you are like fictionally stepping into our like quartermaster role, an interesting thing I just found in the rules, which is that as a 6-step clock, you can add another specialty, like add another specialization to a levy. So you could take our scouts and make them scouts and infantry, or scouts
amazing,
and cavalry, like whatever.
I could do that. I'm actually probably good at that, believe it or not.
You could make them scouts and acolytes.
Probably not.
Theoretically, that's legal.
But I get that. I just don't know how I could fictionally justify
you
that.
couldn't do that. I might be. That would probably be more my department.
Well, it might just be that I spend the actions and I make certain roles, and then I have you step in for like the teaching portion.
An army of scouts who also know how to dispel wraiths. That would be
That's
sick.
actually pretty
That would be sick as
amazing.
fuck.
Yeah,
Pretty sick.
I'm super into that actually. We'll talk about it. Okay.
We'll talk about it.
This is great. I'm actually excited about this.
I just wanted to flag it. Like levy management is a whole thing in this game, and like.
All right, I'm in. I'll be prepped for next time.
Lauren and Luke, did you both have one more
Yes.
downtime thing?
Is our oh god, what's it called in this game? Like the bad stuff.
Unrest.
Unrest, yeah. The
Our
bad-
unrest is
It's
at
bad.
5, which isn't great.
So
I would
perhaps-
prefer us not go up to 9
Yeah.
and get Imperial Aya. That would be lovely.
Yeah.
Ooh, I could see. Ooh, okay. The unrest comes from just like the I guess the shifting allegiances within this area.
Yeah, the, like, general mood of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a
I
good
think
plan
it, I
for-
mean, it's mostly like the Empress looking down and being like, "What the fuck is going on over there? Like, are taxes going to be able to be paid in that province? Like, it's that type of thing."
Mm,
Um,
are
yeah.
do you have a clever plan to ease some of this unrest? I could totally. come
I
up
mean,
with
I have a
something.
recover action that I need to take.
Oh yeah.
I want to finally get rid of this migraine 6 weeks later.
you can totally write the Empress a letter and be like, "Hey, I gotcha. Things are going to be fine." Like, you could.
yeah,
could-
like that's
Yeah.
Or we've established, so there's no such thing on the sheet called the Bellwether Vault. Strash at one point was like, "Well, we could always just like go hit the Bellwether Vault," and I was like, "Now there's a thing called the Bellwether Vault. Okay, what is that?" So and I like the idea of there being like imperial presence in the province. I think that's kind of cool. So there they are. So you could also like go in and talk to the captain, Captain Buko, and let him know what's going on. Or you could, I like the idea of letters to the Empress. I think that's kind of cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
what
Empress.
I would, actually.
You could
Yeah.
make efforts for the refugees.
Hmm.
We could like redistribute. We could like redistribute food supplies and just like generally try and like, lessen the gap between the 1% and the 99%.
Right.
That also sounds super good. I like the idea of doing that and then just sort of like putting it in a litter to like it.
Right, and then saying to the Empress,
Yeah.
"Look, we're doing good things.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, totally.
Please trust us."
Yeah,
Cool.
I could totally see that sort of montage. Yeah, of like sort of redistributing food to refugees and like sort of trying to close that gap between the well off and the not the have
Cool.
nots and stuff. Yeah,
Cool. What's that role look like?
I feel like this feels like a sway role. I feel like Brother Arn is in the background, giving some counsel while this goes on, with Ater also helping like redistribute sort of resources and that kind of thing.
So you're like swaying the merchants to like put together.
Yeah, definitely.
Put together like soup kitchens and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Love it.
And yeah, shoot, dice. I'll just. I roll. Do I roll action rolls for alleviating?
No, it's a
Yeah, it's an appropriate action rating.
yeah. Oh, it is an action rating.
Like
Yes.
it's not an action roll, but it is based.
It
on
is
an
like
action.
a sway or consort or command kind of stitch. Gotcha. I'll
Pick
roll.
one you
I'll
like.
roll my sway. I got a 5.
Nice.
We take
Nice.
down.
Go down by
2.
2. So we're down to 3.
Nice.
Noted.
Love it. And then are you doing that? Oh, that was it. Because that's your second, right?
Yes, that's what I get. Yes. So
Okay.
now we get the recover action from
Got it.
poor Arn. He's got it in my
Hey,
turn for way
Strash.
too long.
Go ahead.
Strush, I'm very excited for us to train our scout levy to hunt ghosts, rename them the Wraith Wardens, and set up Bellheather Crematorium.
Ouch, that pun. I love it. It hurts in all the good places. Nice.
My favorite part is I didn't even have to do any work. The game.
Oh no, that's what makes
Wow.
it. That's good. That's good.
Yes, I'm gonna
Oh
take the
my
I'm gonna
God.
take the recover action.
I'm gonna have to recover from that pun. So yeah,
Own the
John
puns.
takes level 1 harm punt.
I believe the correct term is punished.
oh,
That's the level 3 harm.
oh.
Yeah, and I think what this looks like is like a couple of days after this conversation in the graveyard with Kale. I think Orange just like hits his limit, right? Like he has been pushing through like low grade chronic pain for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And like he's been burning the candle at both ends, and it hits real hard when it hits.
Yeah.
And so I think the migraine like suddenly gets like pressing and like much worse, and he has to just like spend like 2 weeks in a dark room, no light, no noise, no strong smells. He can't read, which is probably the worst part for him.
Right.
Like he just spends like a fortnight like praying and like taking it really easy and trying to recover.
Do you do that in like the little chapel in Bellwether? Well, I think there's probably like a church in Bellwether, like a little chapel in the Southern Markets, or do you go to the Rionag Monastery and like, chill with the monks?
I don't think so. I don't think he likes them very much.
Got it.
Because we know that like they don't get on with Droston's bandits, and like I just think it's like he doesn't have the energy to like deal with any of the politics of it. He's just like,
Right.
It's not the right branch of the church. They're not friends of the claimant yet. Like I just no, not doing it. Fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
you
he
just
just-
wanted. Yeah. Go on.
He's like, I think he's even a little sharp about it. Like I think he just like he goes to see what was our merchant friend called again?
Katir.
Yeah, he goes to see Katia, and like he's not asking. He basically just announces that he will be commandeering the chapel like attached to the warehouse for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And like he is not rude about it because he's never rude, but there is an edge to
Got it.
the pleasantry of it.
Got it.
Yeah,
Cool.
and like I think the only 2 people who he doesn't make it expressly clear he wants to fuck off are Ter and Kale. They're
Nice.
they're allowed to like visit and make quiet conversation if they would like.
Nice.
Yeah, would someone like to assist me? Because
Is that a stress cost?
Yeah, it's the usual stress cost.
Lauren, do you have like a secret the secret pushes left or whatever?
I think I used them both in the sortie, and I have 3 stress. I could do a stress that would leave me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the next sortie. So not like that'd be like 2 pushes and an
It's
assist.
on the
and
edge.
I'd be out. Yeah,
It's fine.
kinda on the
I'm
edge.
happy to just spend coin and bump up later if this doesn't go well.
All right.
All right, healing time. Boop, boop.
Ouch.
Oh fuck! I did set it to 1 die. I'm sorry, everyone. Let me do that again properly.
Yep.
Wait, number of dice 1 because we're tier 1. There we go. All right, that's a 5, and then because I believe we can do this in this game.
I'm pretty confident. Coin
Can
is very
we- I don't know
similar.
that it actually says anything about buying results up. It just says that we can buy more.
I mean, if you want to re-roll it, it's gonna give you at
Yeah,
least
like-
one.
Yeah, in this instance, it's irrelevant. Like it's the same thing
Yeah.
either way.
Right.
So yeah, if the party is cool with it, I'm going to spend a coin.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and I just think like, I think maybe it's more than a fortnight, right? Like I think Aaron is knocked out of commission for like 3 weeks or something,
Yeah.
I think
and it sucks.
we have to
It's
bring
just like
you
a real bad time.
Yeah, we have to bring you some supplies to make teas and
Broth
help with the
or
medicines.
whatever.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah, there's
gotta-
definitely
Probably
some
what the coin
herbs.
is.
Yeah.
I got a meta question. Do we want to hold on to our coin, or would it be better spent on like downtime activities when we have the chances? Because I would be open to spending a coin, but I just want to make sure it would be like the most economical.
We had 5 getting brother Audrin up and running. I'm okay with spending it. I would like to hold on to 4 just so that we can see like I'm still not 100% sure about the coin conversion, right? Like in Blades, I know what a coin's worth because I also know how much we get roughly per mission. But this is maybe like a half to a third of what we get for a standard encounter in Blades.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm
yeah.
trying to like suss out when and how we get more, and I'd be okay with spending 1 right now anyway. But like, I'm feeling a little stingy just because like the conversion ratio is so bad compared to Blades, right?
My loose understanding is, it doesn't. As far as I can tell, there's no mention. I don't think it costs us coin to tier up.
Oh, I thought I saw that. Keep going.
Yeah.
I'll just
That may well be the case.
search
Yeah,
the
my
back.
understanding is basically we're normally going to make 2 or 3 coin from a score. If we strap for coin, there is a score option that's like ransack a holding where we can get
Tier
like,
times
double.
4. When you advance your retinue's tier, you have to spend tier times 4 coin.
Oh damn.
Oh shit! Fuck.
So
That's
to
not
get
bad,
to
though.
2,
That
we
would-
need 8.
Is it tier we're going to times 4, or is it tier we're at times 4?
As is customary in this book, it's unclear. It just says tier X4, but in Blades, tradition is tier you're going to times 8, I think. But in Blades, you
Yeah.
also get more coin. So, like, I don't know. Maybe it's current tier times 4, maybe it's up tier
We
times
can
4.
talk
I don't know.
about it. But yeah, it feels like the 2 main things in the game that we need coin for are that and buying extra downtime actions.
Mm-hmm. It actually says increase result level of a downtime activity is 1 coin.
Oh, does it?
Mm-hmm.
Huh,
It's
there
on
you go.
page 10 of the spreads. Bottom right.
Alright.
And then it says avoid certain retinue entanglements. You can buy them off with coin
Oh,
variable.
Right. It's in the rules for right. There's a bit where it actually talks about coin.
I just searched the PDF. I don't
no,
magically know this.
Good call. That's the way to do it.
Because I was gonna buy another downtime activity, but it sounds like we should hold on to it for now. Because my downtime was gonna try and start a clock to make Aaron my friend. So when we do pray together,
Yes.
they get an extra dice for
Classic make a fellow PC mechanically as well as fictionally, my friend.
Yes.
Yeah, you definitely should. Yeah, we should probably hang on to it because 4 is exactly the amount we need, and so we should
I'm
hang
gonna
on to
be
it for now.
holding
But
on.
you should also take a look at. There may be like, again, I don't know the abilities of the other playbooks as much. I haven't studied them in as much depth, but there may be the ability to like get additional downtime actions, which may be helpful, sort of in the long term for
Yeah,
this.
there's a couple like that.
Yeah, there are a couple.
So something to think about for the future and XP expenditures.
Only trading didn't suck so much.
True facts.
But-
Although spending coin on training is usually when you don't need to heal and you just want a vice and you don't have like a downtime project. It's a good like spend
Yeah.
in Blades, but
I got I'm on a Slack with the game designer, and like that thing with the training is a mistake. So it is a
okay.
straight up.
Wonderful.
It is a straight
well,
up.
if they release updated rules, then I would be happy to update our take on it. But right now it
Cool.
is garbage. So do not do it. It's not worth the coin.
That's cool. Fictionally, then, as part of Brother Oren's healing, I will leave like a jar of spiced apricot preserve, like in your room for your return, because we can't have brandy, but we can still enjoy.
What a good friend.
So do we wanna have any more scenes during downtime? Maybe not like mechanical like downtime actions, but did we want to do any more RP stuff, or are we
I
wrapping and getting ready for the next job next time?
I mean, I would love an RP scene of us like post Oren's recovery. Like maybe like as Oren is recovering, like it's now at the point where like he
Goes
you
for a
know,
constitutional and
I
maybe
no,
makes
no, not even that.
dinner.
Like, I'm thinking more like no light allowed in his room, but like have like no like sunlight, but like he's got candles lit and he's like propped up in bed and like well enough to like have a conversation and have like a proper meal. It's maybe like halfway through the second week, but I would love to have like a strategy meeting scene where we figure out kind of like what the next job wants to maybe look like.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Love it. I think you are in the little chapel in the Southern Markets, and it has a tapestry of the terrible fighting that happened when like the first wraiths, or showed themselves, and so yeah, it's just like you see like the kind of the first wave, and the castles that were lost, and you see the blacksmiths kind of realizing that silver worked, and so like silver swords starting to be made and silver spears and arrows, and then like that first wave of kind of holy prayer backed soldiers going out and starting to put the wraiths down.
I would like to posit that whichever wall the tapestry is on is the wall that Artair is like sitting at.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
that like we get the wraith scars and the cool hair like contrasting against the tapestry with all the wraiths
Nice.
on it. That just seems
Nice.
like a sick image.
Love it. Yeah, I think it's I mean, any NPCs you want can be there, but or it can just be like the three of you kind of talking about what's next. Especially after Fergus, you might not trust them, but if you want them there, they'll be there.
Yeah. And I think we maybe like in my imagination, I think we come in on like Artair finishes going over like what he and Isabel like discovered
Yeah.
on the scout, and like yeah, I think Aaron nods and he says like, I think your friend is right, Artair. Sigane, you know how to deal with mercenaries. We've got options there, but Gear, they're a problem.
Refresh my memory a little bit about House Gear.
So Gear is like
the authority. That's the one that my usurper uncle, or his. Oh, they're a former mercenary house for the powerful house Tab. Or Tab.
Yeah, so Sigane are Sigane controlled past tense the Sedglans. They used to be mercenaries and they got promoted. Gear, there is like a local Gear is a great house. The local Gear are like an offshoot of the great house. They're cousins by marriage to the usurper king. They suck.
Oh, good. Then I think Artair says, well, that's a simple problem. You wait until Gear goes to collect taxes, and then we tell him, nope. And you do this, and you bloody enough of their noses. They've got a merc captain for a head. I know that you might change your feathers or you might change your colors, but at the end of the day, they'll come out to fight. And quite frankly, I'm better at ambushes than they are. They'll think that they're going into a heads-up fight. I'm not gonna give them one. There are two ways to go about this. Actually, no, I would not say that. I would absolutely not give you the non-violent option.
One way to
The-
go about that.
No,
One
these
way to
people
go
are
about
these
that.
people are married to Lalaire. Even if I could imagine a different path, which I can, I will not speak of it.
Yeah, just to clarify, just like to make sure we're all on the same page, the ones married to Lalaire are not the mercenary ones.
Are you sure? Let me just
Yep.
double check.
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Sigane
Oh.
are in charge. Yeah, Sigane
Then I
are
don't
the
care.
ones who have authority in the region, and they are the mercenary ones. Gear are like trying to muscle in, and they are the ones who are married to.
Oh, I see. In which case, where are Gears holding that they're trying to muscle in from?
I mean, House Gear proper operates out of
The Inland Vale.
the Inland Vales.
Which is north or east?
It's northeast. it's not the one. It's not the one. To
it's
our
not.
right,
It's not
the
one
it's-
attached. It's two attached. Is what you're saying?
It's right now. It's
Yeah.
let me just-
Okay.
Let me pick it
Because the Whitelands are writing down, so I think it's
yeah,
like
no, it's
yeah.
this one.
Okay.
The Inland Vales. So we do share a border with them.
I mean, okay. The problem is that we promised Drosten the keep, right? So, like, if we tried this the diplomatic way, then Drosten's gonna be pissed, and our Merc Lady... Well, quite frankly, they're gonna want blood, because we did off their sheriff. So,
They do also Gear do also have a village in the Sedgelands that they have.
okay, in which case, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to go toe-to-toe with Gear. It's just that their holdings are far away, which means that their levies are far away. They've got no actual pull here. They will continue to harass us, but if we head in that direction, we'll have to confront them eventually anyway. So if the problem is ousting the people that are here now, I have no problem doing that. I'm not looking for unnecessary fights, but at the same time, we did promise that if one Mark could be in that house, then Drosten can be in that house too. That we gave Drosten our word. So now that's the question, and I tend to stand by my word.
Yeah, I still
Sorry about the confusion, by the way.
no. It's
Oh, there's a lot going
Yeah,
on.
Yeah, and I think Aran like sighs and he's like, I would rather remove the outside thorn from our side before we go tangling with.
The whole bush.
But yeah, before Sigane are more likely to be competent militarily.
We're not going to take the Sedgelands without continuing that keep. And
No, by all means. But I would before we before we go after Sigane and their cavalry, I would rather cut off the weaker noble limb who don't have support.
And again, I will ask for clarification. Gear is not located here. They're the ones that are far away that are trying to muscle in.
Yeah, they've
Are-
got like a village here and they're trying to muscle in, but like they're
And you're suggesting that we deal with Gear first?
yeah, I reckon we get Gear out of the picture so that we don't have to watch our backs while we're going like head to head with.
So I might have made some mistakes because I saw House Sigane and House Gear, and I assumed that they had castles here, and so I like named them. We've never been there, so they've
That's
never
true.
really been like firm. But I don't think they do. Looking at the holdings and looking at the way things are, I think
Siana Sigane rules from a small keep in the coastal hills. It does say that.
Oh yeah, you know, Sigane has a small keep.
Game-
Yeah.
Yeah, but Gear has a village, but that's about it.
Avens,
Right.
yes, known for archers.
And it's,
Yeah.
Also, like,
yeah.
Maybe they have a manor house in.
Oh, no, wait.
right?
I'm reading White
Right.
Beam for some
Right.
reason. I need to be reading the Sedgelands. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
And yeah, then it sounds like Gear is withholding resources from Sigane
Yeah.
and is hoping that they'll run out of resources, and then when that happens, they can.
Oh.
Yeah. Like Sigane is
Oh,
Gear.
oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah, it says House Sigane has no claim to these lands, but is working on fabricating one through forgery and bribes. I'm okay if we change that up. If you have a different story, Judd, I'm
just
in.
No, I'm good.
I've just spotted something. Avens is listed for both of the
Yeah, but the whole
satellite versions, which means that Avens may not be in the Sedgelands.
It
might
is
be
not.
Whitebeam.
It is in Whitebeam. It is an actual territory in Whitebeam. If you look at the Whitebeam holdings list.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Great. Even better.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'd like. Then yeah, like it's just a handful of like of noble assholes.
Yeah, but how are we going to duel? What does a job trying to deal with that look like in your mind?
Here's my pitch. We invite them to tea. We tell them, like, on the pretext that, like, you know, like, we're like moving and shaking here. Like, basically, we play them. We say to them, look, we know you're loyal to the king, but also, like, we offer a real opportunity for you to get some legitimate power here in the Sedgelands that the king isn't willing to give you, and we use that to bait them out in the open, where our scouts who are good at ambushes can descend upon them like ravening wolves. We have a fight in like the town square, basically, is my pitch. Around a cafe or something.
Sigane?
No, Gear.
Gear.
Gear?
Yeah, we say, hey, Gear, we know you want Sigane's land. We're the power of the Sedgelands now. We're happy to work with you and like get that. That gets them out in the open where they're exposed. They sit down and have a meal with us. Like, maybe we can just like threaten them into fucking off. If so, great. If not, all of our, scouts come out of the alleyways and the crowd and just like murder their guys.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my suggestion.
Yeah.
But I'm not attached to it, right? And like,
I think knives and ambushes are a fine enough. It's a legitimate tactic, and don't get me wrong. Fighting someone married to Lolaire is pretty high on my priority list, but I don't know. I think that solidifying our hold on a keep before the end of summer is probably more important, and it'll give us leverage to dealing with Imperial ire, right? If we can make sure that the taxes flow smooth and the transition of power is solid, we're going to end up with a better position moving forward. I think that this is probably a fine plan, but travel to and from Whitebeam is significant. So it's the kind of thing that it's going to take a while for them to get here. It's going to take a while for us to execute, and who knows who they send and how many people we get. We could just end up pissing them off enough and having an actual problem down the road, as opposed to this mild meddling that we can probably counter. Don't get me wrong, I'm planning on having an actual problem down the road, but I'd like for them not to strike at us with their renowned archers before we actually are ready for them.
Yeah, I think Aaron like nods, but like looks a little weary and like turns to Kale like.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I really misunderstood. Brianna Guerre is clearly in Whitebeam in a small manor or a little tower in Avens. Like that's clearly what
she's
she's
politically present in the Sedgelands.
Yeah, and she's fabricating a claim to make her way into the Sedgelands. But now you all have the Southern Markets, which is blocking that, and
she's not gonna have a better claim than I am, Lolaire. The only counter to that is not legitimate or a Forsook house. Honestly, that's the political side of things, and I will leave that in the far more capable hands of Kale and yourself. Kale, my suggestion to you is that we handle the problem that's on our doorstep, and I think that my plan of luring out the Siganes and actually meeting them out in the open is probably what I stand by at the moment. We don't want to hit fall and winter with all of our strength still kind of tied, our strength split between facing them and dealing with the problems at home. We should probably just own the Sedgelands and keep our promises, which will give us more leverage moving forward.
Yeah, and I think I feel like in the background, Kale is playing herself at race versus knights or whatever, while you two are talking very heatedly about what to do next. And I think we hear like the thunk of like a piece on the board, and then like Kale looks up at the two of you and says like, it would be best not to underestimate House Gear as much as I can't stand him. I think she like, has to sort of like withhold the urge like spit or something, or just like really vulgar. And says, "We've come so far in such a short amount of time, and yet if we split our resources, I know Gear will take that as an opportunity. I can see Brienne. I think she like, even like prefaces it with like Lady Gear or like Lady Brienne. It's like Brienne. She is cutthroat, and she will absolutely take everything that we've managed to build so far in that chaos. And yeah, I think Kale is very on board with the solidifying power here in the Sagelands before winter, and then
Yeah, I like no. Now that the gear situation has been clarified, I think Oren is 100% on board.
Yeah.
My only thought would be, and I just want to like pitch this out as a thing that we can think about before next session. Bruston's bandits do give us that +1 die on infiltration. So like instead of luring them out of their keep, what if we snuck into their keep?
Luke! Oh, Luke!
Murder in the hallways. Like, love to do murder in the hallways.
And there was a thing that you did when you were thinking about Sigane earlier, where you were like, "Does Isbel know a way in?" And I rolled really high. So like I think she can, if you open her, I think she'll, that's fictionally in the mix, right? That
Okay.
is, for whatever reason, Isbel knows a secret way into the keep.
it sounds
Yeah,
fucking cool.
cool. So we're thinking about infiltration into Sigane.
No, we were talking about infiltration into Gear. I'm thinking we just brawl with Sigane.
Okay.
If you want infiltration, I'm down with that too. I'm good with either plan.
I just want that +1 die.
Okay, yeah, let's do an infiltration. I think Judd just
like-
gave us a carrot. I think we take the carrot. I think we lure out the troops and then strike hard.
Or even just like, I'm totally fine with like, I just really love the idea of us all just like prowling through the corridors.
I'm made
murdering
for that.
guards. That
I'm
sounds
made
sick.
for that.
And I think it's also worth us remembering, just like, because like scale is always super important here, and I finally like got the levy system clear in my head. Sigane has like 25 people
Yeah, and we have 12. We got
in its
this.
forces, and we have 12 plus the 3 of us.
Yeah?
Like, this is totally manageable, especially if we wanna, and we totally could at the start of next session as part of like recon, spend another coin, take another downtime action, and muster a second levy.
Yeah, okay.
Which is a thing we
That
can do.
is, well, let's talk about that right before next game, because we need to
Yeah, exactly.
calculate
I'm
how
not
many
saying
coin
let's-
we're going to get for doing the thing that we're doing.
No, for sure.
Because we want to make sure that we're over the cap if we need to advance, because we're not there, but we're getting close.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, but I just want to flag that like I think it's very easy to be like, oh, like it's like, we're like imagining Game of Thrones, we're like, oh yeah, the Lannisters, they must have like 3,000 soldiers, and it's like, no, in this game they would have 48.
That
Right.
actually isn't entirely too unrealistic. Like, massive
totally.
armies were like in the like 10,000 range, not in the like, and we're talking about like massive armies were in the
And-
sub
and even
10,000
then,
range. Like 5,000
most of the
people
war-
is an unheard of siege, right? Like,
And is mostly conscripts, right?
Yeah.
Like is not really people who like matter in
Yeah.
the kind of narrative space we're working in.
all right, cool. I feel like that's great. I think in particular, once you say that, once you're like, all right, let's do this, then I think maybe we can like roll to credits with Artera saying, so now that we've agreed that there is going to be blood upon our blades, I grin and I say, I think I have a friend that knows a little bit more than she's saying. And I'm insinuating that we should probably try and drag that secret entrance plan out of her and
Cool.
see if we can do
Sounds
that.
great.
Such a good recon action too, right? Like,
All right, let's.
Well done,
I'm pumped.
Shall we do XPs?
Yeah.
Heck
yeah,
yeah.
let's do some XP.
Who wants to go first?
I can
Oh.
totally go first.
I can, like,
Rocket, Lauren.
Okay, cool. So I get 1 XP for each. Address the challenge by following counsel of your retinue. I think we got a bit of that now. Here and there in the graveyard, and I liked the idea of espousing like beliefs to tear through Arn. That was quite cute.
I think you
And-
also get that one for like, right? Like we had that beat where Oren was like, you are gonna do the diplomacy in this scene, and I am gonna sit in my chair and watch.
Oh heck yes.
Like he counseled you to step forward and take charge, and you did so. So you know.
That's fantastic. I'll totally take
XP for sure.
that. I didn't ask a member of my retinue to take a risk or sacrifice, but that's one I would like to replace with like clearing the like my branch, the their names. Like if I took steps to advance, like sort of clearing up
Advance the prestige.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the prestige stuff. I don't think I hit on that today though, so I'm totally fine not taking XP for that.
I think there's like maybe a case for it with the merchant.
Yeah, I could see that.
Oh yeah.
I think that there is a different, much better case, which is that Kale was willing to be a pile of pillows and feathers while Orin and Arter handled some assassination issues. That feels like asking your compatriots to step in and handle an issue.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
Mm.
Just saying.
that's a good point. Yeah, maybe I'll take an XP for that, and I'll suss out the.
Yeah, we'll take an
reveal.
XP either way, and we'll fix
Either way.
we'll fix the prompts later.
And then made sacrifices to fulfill a promise to an ally or vassal. I don't think I did.
You'll definitely get that next time.
Yeah, and then I think I get 1 for each for expressing heritage, background, and beliefs and drive. Because we saw a lot of like the Lola, like sort of during the Lola reveal, and speaking heart to heart with Kater, about our mutual trauma from the night of no moon, and I added in my drive too, which is understanding the race and their place in the world. So I think it's sort of part of like
Oh, interesting.
Kale's like backstory. I think I'm becoming more interested in exploring. So I think a lot of like the Night of No Moon is like locked away and hasn't had a chance to like really be examined because there's a lot of movement, fleeing, chaos, confusion, and like there's a lot of interesting pointy bits that I think could be explored in terms of letting family rest. Yeah, I think that's me.
Cool. Luke, you want to tackle yours real quick?
Yeah.
And there's no
Just-
XP for domain, I believe, so.
I'm just locking in my drive because I finally figured out what it is. Cool. So I did not take initiative to call in a favor or collect on a debt, so I don't get any for that one. I did not make sacrifices to protect. Well, I don't think I made sacrifices to protect the innocent. I do think I challenged the claimant's assumptions on a situational problem.
Definitely.
I think I did that several times. I think I definitely expressed my heritage, background, or scars. And I think I expressed my new drive, which I have now settled on, which is discover who in our conspiracy we can truly trust.
Mm,
I think Aaron's a little rattled after how things went with Fergus.
awesome.
And he wants to like who in the core team is like genuinely trustworthy. And then once we know that, we'll move on to something else. So that's 3, and I'm gonna buy a new special ability. I don't know what it is yet.
Dope. My turn?
Mhm.
I don't think I made sacrifices to gain a strategic advantage.
Okay.
But I definitely took initiative to preempt a threat several
Nice.
times.
Yeah.
I counseled the claimant to choose aggression over compromise. Like, Would you like to have dinners or murders? Murders, please.
Oh, heck yes.
Um, you express your heritage, background, or scars. I feel like I definitely have brought a lot of my like mercenary captain kind of background into play here.
Yeah.
Was kind of a big deal. And you express your beliefs and drive. My current drive is worded a little bit strangely, but I think everybody will understand the context. My drive is I will gather the troops. And I think that the way that we're seeing this is Arter's tendency to pick out who he thinks is useful and sort of develop them into somebody that that is going to be sort of like a slightly more long-term investment, right? Like we're seeing this with Isbale and we're seeing this with Cathan. So it's a lot of just like slowly moving pieces into position, and kind of like figuring out where they fit in the grander scheme of things. And sometimes it's an investment that's unclear until we realize that Isbale knowing a way into a particular keep is now all of a sudden far more relevant than we thought it was. So I feel like I hit that drive.
Cool.
Sweet. So I'm just gonna take my XPs and I will probably get Skirmish 4. We'll figure it out.
Sweet.
Love it.
Cool. So I think that's it
We
for
control the whole province now.
we control a
We
province.
fucking did it.
We did the thing. Good.
We ruled
Well,
the Sedgelands. Let's go.
I feel like maybe we celebrate next time. Yeah. Depending on how-
Mechanically, we rule the Sedgelands.
Oh, all right. Yes, my bad.
If we did the speedrun version, we could win the game in another 6 sessions.
All right. That is very speedy. All right. So yeah, I think that's it. Maybe we do our outros, right?
Yeah. nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll start us off so that I can set up our little outro screen here. So hi, I've been Strash. I use he, him pronouns. You can find me at StrashA on the Twitters. I write games, like Scum and Villainy and Band of Blades. Yeah, I'm a regular streamer here. That's all I've kind of got. This game is my big game right now. We played a cool session of Bolt last time. I was on, but I don't have anything planned this moment. So I think I'm gonna be boring in my outro today and just pass it off to Luke. So Luke, take it away.
Hello, I have been Luke. You can find me on Twitter at Wildwoods Games, where I design games and yell about stuff. That's about it. I'm working on a folk horror game at the moment. That's going along nicely. We'll see if it goes anywhere. It's about all from me. Lauren.
Yes, I've been Lauren. I use she today. I'm at TheStrayTV on Twitter, and I have TheStrayTV.com if you want to know more about my editing and design stuff. I think, yeah, this is my big thing. I'm enjoying it not doing stuff. like sleeping and like that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't have much to plug apart from, like be kind to yourself in 2020, sleep, eat food and hydrate, and the year's almost out, so I don't know, hopefully next year will be better. I just take care of yourself. I guess my plug.
Mood.
How about you, Judd?
Hey, I'm Judd, he, him, and wow, yeah, I can't stop thinking about taking care of yourself 2020. That's a big one. I talk about games and write about games, and so if you want to hear more of that or read more of that, there's a podcast called Daydreaming About Dragons, and I've got a blog too, and so you can track that down. And yeah, I'm around. That's all. You can find me. I'm easily searchable. So track me down, and if you have any thoughts, let me know what's going on at your table. I'd love to hear it. That is it.
All right.
That was fun.
I think with that, it's time for smooth outro.